Hey guys, it's your girl Leslie. Today we're going to read chapter 7, Continuing Normality. I already read this, but I forgot that I didn't videotape, but I just wanted to know. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but remember, Jessica Love Story, Not Expected, chapter 7, Continuing Normality. Anyways guys, whoever likes this video or comments down below, I will give a shout out to. And if Tiana's watching this, hey Tiana, sorry, my phone died. My phone literally died on me. Anyways, I hope you like the video. Please subscribe. Please hit that big thumbs up button. And yes, I did just post 3, 5, and 6, and then 3 and 4. Sorry guys, it messed up on me. Really bad personal issues. It might take a long time to upload, but anyways, I'm probably gonna read chapter 8 too, cause I haven't read that chapter. You know, just not to spoil anything. But if I stop, just to let you guys know, I'm still sort of a sucky reader, but I'm not that bad of reading, cause I'm a very loud person. At the same time, shy. So let's continue the video. Okay, chapter 7, Continuing Normality. The morning light shone on Jessie from the kitchen window. A bright, vibrant sunlight that would have blinded her if she looked directly into it. She knew that she should have gone to sleep in her own bed. After cleaning up the excess blood that Jeff left behind from his visit, she ended up drifting off into one of her dreamless sleeps on the hard, uncomfortable floor. She wasn't sure why she hadn't moved, but she assumed that it was because she was too exhausted to go after the long day she had yesterday. As anyone could have guessed, her whole body was aching due to her slumber on the tiled floor, and was extremely tired because it took her a while. Even after cleaning up Jeff's blood to fall asleep, it was more difficult than she thought it would be. She just had spent too much time contemplating her current situation, and sorry guys, I keep messing up. Ugh! And ended up drifting away until her whole body was numb and decided to close her eyes. My head hurts, she mumbled to herself, a habit that she felt the need to grow out of, but never did. As she raised her body and took a look at the clock, it read 7:34 a.m. Shit! Anthony would be here to pick her up in 11 minutes, and she wasn't even dressed yet. Well, she was dressed, but in yesterday's school clothes. She jumped up and sprinted upstairs to get ready before her neighbor decided to come and get her. Seriously, what happened last night, Jess? You look awful, Sally asked her. Jessie and Anthony walked towards the school gates. Wow, thanks. Jessie yawned sarcastically. Still tired from falling asleep so late, and her body was still aching from sleeping. Oh, sorry guys, that was my phone. Sorry. Sorry, I lost my charger. Ugh! This sucks. Okay, now I found it. Okay, still aching from sleeping on her kitchen floor. However, she knew that Sally was correct in her statement. Her hair was a mess from not having time to properly prepare for Anthony to pick her up that morning. So she clearly had bags under her eyes and kept yawning, demonstrating for her exhaustion. Hold on. Sally stopped the group for a moment and took out a hairbrush from her bag. The other two were slightly shocked to see it due to Sally's being a tomboy. They never would have expected for her to carry something so feminine as a hairbrush around with her. Let me fix this up a little bit. She began to brush her friend's hair gently, fixing it up and making it presentable. Sally, we'll be late, Anthony moaned. Do that later. No, we won't. Besides, I'm not letting her walk around like this. Jessie felt happiness at her friend's words. Sally had always taken care of her in this way, just like Anthony always took care of her emotionally and protected her from anything that came in her way, except for bullies, since she could defend herself from those. Not that she was ever bullied a kid, felt extremely lucky to have friends like them. Thanks. She smiled at her friend grinning back at her. Anthony stood with his hands in his hips, clearly growing impatient at the girly moments going on in front of him. This this was one of the disadvantages of being best friends with a couple of girls when he was a guy. They always concentrated too much on their looks. And plus, getting ready to go anywhere with those two were like waiting for paint to dry. Tedious. He decided to turn away and concentrate on something else. Anything other than his friends acting girly and worrying about their hair and looks. Not that he thought that Jessie needed to concentrate on that stuff with her naturally cute face. That was when he noticed something strange. There! Sally placed the brush back in her shoulder bag. Now you look just tired as fuck. But your hair is awesome. Jessie giggled and softly felt her hair, trying not to ruin the good job that her friend just done on it. Thanks, Sal. Jessie? Anthony grabbed the attention of both of his friends and continued pointing in front of him towards the school gates. Isn't that John heading this way? Jessie's heart skipped a beat. That sound of John's name. He was the last person that she wanted to see right there and then. The flesh teen glanced around and saw what Anthony was right, and that John was really heading over to the three school kids. Seemingly happy, she couldn't talk to him. Now after Jeff had convinced her that she wanted nothing more than to kill him in the most violent way possible. She didn't want to get the feeling again, not in public, and especially not in front of Sally and Anthony. The safest thing for him would to be keep away from her for now, at least until Jessie figured out what was wrong with her. I have to go, Jessie yelled to her friends and ran towards the school. Passing John, not even glancing at his face, he looked back for a moment until Jessie was out of sight and then walked towards the school, slowly slumping on his back. He had missed a chance to talk to her. What the hell was that? Sally asked, scratching her head in confusion. Hey, wasn't he staring at Jessie yesterday before she had her episode? Maybe she likes him. Sally looked at her four-eyed friend blankly. His voice had suddenly become dulled and depressed, as if he just had received some bad news. Sally instantly knew what was wrong with him. The gamer girl patted the boy on the back, causing him to jolt forward slightly. I told you ages ago that if you don't confess to Jess, she'd be taken away by someone else. Do you believe me now? Anthony suddenly began to walk into the school, trying to ignore what his schoolmate had just said to him, just like he had when she originally said it. He didn't want to hear this right now. Come on, we'll be late. Sally just crossed her arms and whispered, "That dumb bastard," before running after him, calling his name and asking for him to slow down. Behind a tree, Jeff stood, his hood up and arms crossed incognito. Okay, I cannot pronounce that. I've been trying to pronounce that for ages, but I can never do it, so I'm just doing my best right now. 1, 2, 3. Incognito. I tried my best. Now that's an interesting development. So you guys want to get together for a study session soon? Sally asked her and her two best friends, looking through their history books in class. The brunette had her head leaned on the table due to exhaustion, not as much as Jessie was feeling, but exhaustion all the same. And to show how much she wanted to get away from the prison that she was locked into, however, all that was going through her mind was school and exams. Sure, when? Anthony asked, keeping in mind that the exam's in 2 months. I don't know, Sally sighed, wondering when she was free. When's good for you, Jessie? Jessie didn't respond. Her mind was all over the place, and school was the last thing she wanted to think about. She was leaned forward, resting her face on her hand, her elbow on the table, staring blankly at the wall. She didn't even know what she was thinking about anymore. So then she thought her thoughts were transitioning from thoughts or image to the other. There was too much going on to keep track of what was going through her mind. She had met Jeff the Killer. She had escaped being killed by Jeff the Killer. She had cut Jeff the Killer at his request. She had sat on Jeff the Killer's... Can I not say? Okay. She had...
Deadpool 2 is coming out soon.
What the heck? Sorry, guys. Somebody was playing something. Sorry, guys. It was my grandpa's TV. I just turned it off because it just started. I don't know. I accidentally pressed a button. Sorry, guys. Wrong button. Anyways, trying to find my chapter. Come on. Okay, there we go. Found it. Okay. Continuing, she had sat on Jeff the Killer's erection accidentally. She had been told that she was becoming like Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer. That was the one person that Jessie never thought that she would meet in her lifetime. She prayed that she would never feel the end of his blade against her skin, which she hadn't, but she had actually seen him and spoken to him. That was something that no one had ever said before, because those who weren't alive to say it. She had met Jeff the Killer. Jessie? She jolted. Huh? Anthony and Sally glanced at each other with concern and then turned back to their clearly troubled friend. Sally was the first one to speak. Jess, are you okay? Do you need to go to the medical room again? To be honest, I'm surprised that you would have even in the school after yesterday. It was then that Jessie realized that acting normal and dealing with everything that was happening to her reluctantly, meeting Jeff, feeling bloodlust, and being told that she would one day be a serial killer and needed training to do so, was becoming too much for her to handle at that moment. Ordinarily, she had no problem acting normal if something bad had happened to her, but nothing this devastating had ever occurred in her life. She didn't know how to deal with all of it. Maybe going and resting in the medical room was the best thing for her. Yeah. She stood up and picked her bag from the ground. I'm still not feeling good, and I'm gonna go and tell the teacher. Slowly, she wandered towards the teacher and received an answer to whether she was allowed to leave or not. Sally instantly looked at Anthony, straight-faced. Before she could even say anything, he stated, I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know what's wrong with her. And that's why you're pissed off, right? I bet you expected her to tell you if something was wrong, right? The two sat there in silence, waiting to wave to their friend when she left the room, but feeling tense aurora in the atmosphere around them both without knowing why. Maybe she was making them worry. Damn. That was something that she really didn't want to do. Thanks, sir. The killer researcher was about to leave the classroom happily and just enjoyed her break from the stress of school when, in the corner of her eyes, she caught a glimpse of John, who was staring at her once again. Ba-bump! There it was again. The bloodlust was taking over once more. Her heart skipped a beat as she began to tremble. She had the vision of herself sprinting over to John, pushing him off his seat onto the floor so that she could strangle him. Reality was sinking away gradually if she stood there. She was afraid that she might actually do what was going through her mind. She had to get out of there. She swiftly made her way out, not even waving goodbye to her friends, and closed the door behind her. Once she was out of the classroom, she placed her hand over her mouth, covering her panting, hoping that it would stop soon. I need to talk to Jeff. Okay. Lunch was here, and Jessie was in the deserted area, full of trees and bushes, hiding from the other students and teachers around her. She had spent all morning in the medical room, catching up on sleep and that she desperately needed and resting her aching muscles, but also thinking about what she wanted to know from Jeff. She stood firmly and took a deep breath, preparing for another encounter with Jeff, with the serial killer. I want to speak with you, Jeff. Bang! Jeff fell out of the tree above Jessie on his feet, sprinting a few times as he prepared to land, startling her and causing her to press herself against the tree behind her. You called? He asked snugly. For a brief moment, Jessie forgot what she was going to ask him and was just amazed Jeff's athletic abilities. Pause. I think I'd do that too. Like this is the same question I will ask. How the hell did you do that? Like, do it again. We're gonna videotape it. Like, that's what I would probably say. Anyways, continuing. How the hell did you do that? She questioned while pointing at the top of the tree where Jeff had appeared from. When you become a serial killer, you learn to be mobile and athletic. He chuckled. But I know that's not why you wanted to see me. What's up? She remembered deciding her feelings for wonder for Jeff's abilities. John, what about him? I can't be around him. Jessie glanced down towards the floor, despising the fact that she had asked this of Jeff. Do you think you could help me out, not want to kill him? Jeff crossed his arms and huffed, the feeling that he wouldn't need to repeat himself, but did anyway. Wow. Wow. Pause right there. Wow. Anyways, guys, I'm actually gonna pause every time. Like, what do you think? Like, would you repeat yourself? I don't think I would, but you know, if I had to, I would. But okay. Continuing. Do you think you could? Oh, sorry. Wrong. Sorry. My pointer pointed the wrong way. Anyways, continuing on the right sentence. It doesn't work like that, Jesse. I'll go on until you actually do kill him. Jesse didn't like that answer. But I thought that about you. I didn't kill you. I told you. I'm a special case. If we could kill each other, you'd be dead by now. Not that I would know that you were one of us, if that were the case. The two stood there, face to face, but in completely different worlds. Jessie didn't know what to do about her bloodlust, and Jeff was more worried about how he was going to go raising this girl as a serial killer when she was so against the idea. It wasn't going to be easy. Maybe I should have let her talk to Ben. He's the only one that can know I'm here. If Sunday finds out where I am so fucked. I'm sorry, guys. That's a little bit funny. He thought to himself as Jesse stood silently, staring into space. He had no idea why normal humans had to feel remorse and guilt when not feeling those two things was so easy for him. He would never understand people. Tell you what. He grabbed Jesse's attention. You can talk to one of my friends today. I'll stop by yours tonight and you can hear all of this from someone else. It might make things more clear for you. That actually didn't sound like a bad idea to Jessie. She was just curious about what kind of friends Jeff had, and it didn't seem as if Jeff was going to be any help to her in her terms of managing her urges. Sure. But he stepped forward, standing right in front of Jessie. The killer put his finger and pointed at her. The thing with John, you have to learn just to live with it. Since you don't want to kill him, I can't help you there. Do whatever you have to do, but solve this one by yourself. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm on my bed reading this to you guys. Jessie blushed as the limited space between Jeff and her. The memory of her and Jeff last night flew back into her head suddenly. She remembered the feeling of Jeff's little problem poking onto her crotch and how strange it felt. Jessie hadn't had much experience with boys, so that was extremely overwhelming to her. Her large brown eyes stared up at his. She had only just noticed how easy it was to get lost in them at that moment. The murderer noticed Jesse's reddening face and her wide eyes looking into his, and in return went pink and remembered what had happened the night before as well. He wasn't used to losing control over his body like that, and Jessie was extremely innocent and adorable girl, which Jeff couldn't help but love. The feeling of the bandage cut was hidden underneath his hoodie sleeve, which was coming back to him. The feeling of the blade slicing through his skin, while and at the same time, Jessie was on top of him, her crotch rubbing against his with every moment she had made a move. Made him completely flush. Um, Jessie broke the awkward silence. How's your cut? Jeff was tongue-tied. Tongue-tied for the first time in his life. He had always been so confident, even around girls. So what happened to him? What was happening to him? The words he wanted to say wouldn't come out at all. All he could do was just stare into this girl's eyes. She did the same, but also waited for a response. Jeff? The feeling was coming back for Jeff. He wanted to pin Jessie to the wall by her neck and strangle her so badly it was a criminal. However, he had learned over the years to control his urges. So he didn't do anything about it. He didn't want to do it in public, especially since they were both in her school grounds. But somehow that made it all more exciting. Jessie? The two jolted, looking towards the left. That's John, she whispered loudly. Jeff instantly pushed himself away from Jessie and began to climb the tree gracefully and slightly rushed. That he came from a moment ago while yelling, "You deal with it. I'll meet you at yours later. I have to make a call." Jeff! But he was gone. Jessie's heart was going out of control. She placed her hand on her chest and stood still like as a statue, confused and worried. She had no idea how she got herself involved into predicament such a predicament, but she had to deal with it now. She was too far to duck out, just duck out, and she didn't think that Jeff would ever let her walk away from this so easily. Jeff. Jessie. John appeared through the shrubbery looking like he just run a marathon, covered in sweat and red in the face. Panting like crazy. I've been looking all over for you. John? Why? The feeling wasn't coming back. So far, so good. I wanted to talk to you. So guys, this is chapter 7. Sorry I messed up so many times. It's just they have some weird confusing words, and whenever I paused I was like shaking my head or like very like remember I do not own the story. Remember that I do not own this story. Remember guys. Just remember I did not make the story, so don't worry too much about me.